Thank you, Taylor. It is opening night in college basketball, and we are at the Dean Dome. Michael Jordan's alma mater against Scottie Pippen's alma mater. Central Arkansas against 25th ranked North Carolina. Good evening, Anish Rauf, Chris Spatola. I feel like we need Ray Clay as the PA announcer tonight. But we've got a North Carolina team, Chris, that was the last team in last year. They reloaded. It's a totally new roster. And they've got one of the most ballyhooed freshmen in America.
I like that word choice. Ballyhooed to start the year, Anish. You're on your A game. He is a modern-day super prospect, Caleb Wilson. He is what every team covets, particularly in the NBA, because he's got size, length, athleticism, and versatility on both ends of the floor. Defensively and offensively, he has been better than advertised in their first two exhibition games.
Caleb Wilson, a five-star, one of 11 newcomers. Seth Trimble, the only key rotational piece from last year who's back. And we found out about 30 minutes before tip that Luka Bogovac, an Impact International transfer, has been cleared by North Carolina. He will play tonight.
Yes, a guy they've been waiting to get into their lineup full-time here. He can really go, can really shoot the basketball. He's 22 years old, has played a lot of international basketball, has that experience, and has a bounce to him. Plays with an emotion. He's a real threat from the perimeter for them.
Bogovac, 6'6", but really in the front court for North Carolina, they have added height. They've added length. They've added a lot of positional versatility, things they felt they lacked a year ago. Officials tonight, A.J. Desai, Les Jones, Kellen Milner, and we are underway with Central Arkansas from Conway, Arkansas, the Bears, who have it first. Active hands and a turnover. Kyan Evans, the point guard for UNC, coming over from Colorado State, where he helped the Rams to a Mountain West Conference championship. Wilson swings it into the corner. Trimble the baseline drive, and the follow by Henry Vesar. There's the size, the Arizona transfer.
We have seen Hubert Davis use Caleb Wilson a lot in that mid-post. Back to the basket, and he shows you the skill set, the cross-court pass that led to the shot, and then the follow-up, the offensive board by Vesar.
That's the Princeton offense. It's high-low. Marable, the 5, with the assist to Cole McCormick.
They run their stuff, Central Arkansas, they're Princeton, with really good pace.
Entry pass, and Wilson with his first 2 points as a Tar Heel with a couple of exclamation points.
Some old school Carolina basketball right there. A little high-low, very nice delivery by Vesar, and then the length right in front of that rim by Wilson. You know, that size for Carolina going to be an issue for Central Arkansas.
Here is Rashad Bolden, too strong. He was one of the top scorers in Division II last year. Jaron Stevenson, the Alabama transfer, in and out. A 6'10" wing who can really shoot it from 3.
And those wings are running right to the corners. They are sprinting to the corners, and Stevenson is outstanding, finding that spot, catching and shooting.
Bolden offline, the rebound by Vesar. Evans, another guy who can shoot it. The lob instead for Caleb Wilson.
Wilson is so good at changing ends of the floor, and part of it is he's hungry to score. And when those guards throw it to him, he knows he's going to get it. It's more of a motivating carrot. What a find by Evans. That's a Tar Heel team this year that wants to run.
McCormick lines up the 3. A young man who originally signed with John Shulman, the Central Arkansas head coach, when Shulman was at D2 Alabama, Huntsville. Caleb Wilson is feasting above the rim.
And he's just in that dunker spot, and I don't know who's guarding him. I mean, nobody has put a body on him. He is running free to the rim.
And we get an early foul.
I mean, he's just camping underneath. He is sprinting ahead of the field. A really good find with his head up by Evans there. And then just, you know, in that dunker spot, nobody, the weak side defender there, that guard not dropping down to get in front of Wilson.
The foul was on Kyan Evans, who lays it in at the other end. This is how North Carolina wants to play. Granted, you know who the opponent is. You've got a talent advantage, but this is what they want to get back to.
It is. If you're Central Arkansas, one thing you can do, though, you can control is taking care of the basketball. You know, the 2 turnovers, the one to start the game and then the run out there, I mean, these are not really forced. A little bit of nerves, I think, playing in this building. Watched them come in for practice yesterday. They were taking all the videos. I mean, it's such a moment for a school like Central Arkansas to come here and play and be in this building.
When I talked to their head coach, John Schulman, last week, he said, listen, part of playing here is that experience. These players, he said, will be able to tell their grandkids they played at the Dean Dome. 3, no good, batted around, but we get a foul underneath on Central Arkansas.
You know, we've heard a lot, Anish, all offseason about the size that North Carolina has added.
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting 6'10", 6'10", 7 feet on their front line. The question is, how does size manifest? Looks good on paper, but these guys they've added, I mean, they are not in the mold of Bacot or Hansborough. They're not the physical enforcers those guys are.
Vessar, the offensive rebound. Wilson, another stuff. That's 4 dunks. That's how you inflate the old shooting percentage. That one doesn't go. And the rebound to Trimble. In the lane, through the contact. And he's got 2 free throws coming.
We North Carolina early, and we've made the point about the size advantage, but they are mashing the offensive glass. And the crowd you hear is Luka Bogovac coming into the game.
You hear the chants of Luka. He played professionally in Europe. There was a clearance issue. He was cleared by the NCAA, but not by North Carolina until 30 minutes before tip-off. He didn't play in either of the 2 exhibition games. 22 years old. Played in the well-respected Adriatic League, where he averaged almost 15 a game and shot 40% from 3.
Well, he's coming off his best season as a pro. He was their 2nd leading scorer
So
last
that again,
year.
as a pro.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's where we are now, man. But the fact of the matter is he had a great year last year, and it was a great get late for Hubert Davis, and he's going to give him a real weapon on the perimeter.
Javion Guy King knocks down the shot. He's back at Central Arkansas after sitting out last year due to an NCAA rules infraction. There's Bogovac. It's poked away by Guy King. In terms of first impressions and opening statements, Caleb Wilson gave UNC a call me Ishmael. And Ashraf Chris Spatola, it's year 5 for Hubert Davis. That first season ended with an appearance in the national championship game. They've had some years on the bubble last year. Last team in. Not everybody agreed, but North Carolina ended up in the field of 68.
Well, Hubert had a mission. You know, he had a mission this offseason. They wanted to add size, and they wanted to add perimeter shooting. And they have done both of those things. They want to become better defensively, and they want to become better on the glass, you know, especially on the offensive glass. They were 206th, North Carolina, 206th in the country last year in offensive rebounding percentage. And so you could already tell early in this game, you go back to that BYU exhibition game, they had 18 offensive rebounds. They're already mashing the offensive glass here. That size is having an impact.
That's been a hallmark of the great UNC teams. The 3 from Evans, 45% from beyond the arc last year.
And that's what he does best. You know, he has not been his best so far in these first 2 exhibition games. And I think part of it is he's thinking a little bit too much. You know, you get these guys who come in, Akayan Evans, he's making a lot of money. He's, you know, being at North Carolina is a lot different than being at Colorado State. There are inherent pressures that I think he's feeling in the first couple games. Just got to settle down, play more instinctively.
And if there's a question as to whether he is a true point guard, Hubert Davis said, listen, I view the point guard position holistically. Bogovac down the lane, and he's got his first 2 as a Tar Heel.
Well, there has not been a lot of resistance from the Central Arkansas defense. I mean, that's just a straight line drive, untouched.
Now a turnover. Ahead to Trimble, look out. And a timeout by John Shulman. UNC dominating the paint, getting runouts in transition, off to a roaring start.
Well, Luka Bogovac making his appearance here, first official appearance. And he's a difference maker. You know, he's very good. We mentioned his shooting, but he's very good out of the pick and roll. I mean, there was no defense, just a straight line drive, but he's a connector. You know, he understands how to play. 22 years old, he's got a bounce to him. Just watching him in practice yesterday, there's a life and a bounce to him, and energy about the game that's infectious.
Near turnover there. This is Ty Robinson. Now Luke Moore. John Shulman said he's been practicing better than anybody. Guy King for 3. Back iron. Offensive rebound. Put back no. And the second try is there by Chris Mason. He's built like a tight end.
Nice job staying with the play by Mason.
Mason with the block at the other end on Bogovac. Cameron Hunter, 1 in black. Former Ace Sun Freshman of the Year. Had a couple of really nice seasons with Central Arkansas. Then had an injury. Then last year transferred to Wisconsin and learned a lesson that unfortunately a lot of guys learn. The grass isn't always greener. Didn't play a whole lot, only scored 3 points all season, but decided to come back to Central Arkansas. He is an Arkansas native. This Bears team won 9 games last year, but they did win a conference tournament game for the first time in 3 years. Guy King an open 3, and that's good.
And this Princeton offense, these bigs, they've got a rotating 3-headed monster at their big position. Central Arkansas, they do a lot of facilitating, a lot of passing at the top of the key.
One poked away by Hunter. It comes back to the freshman Dixon. 3 grazing the front rim, and the putback by Bogovac to clean up the miss by Powell.
He's just active, Bogovac. He's active, he plays hard, and he's hungry to score.
Moore lost it. Here comes Powell, the West Virginia transfer. Vessar down low. And lost it out of bounds.
And that's where Vessar, again, like, how does his size manifest? I mean, he was met there by Mason's body, and it leads to a turnover. You know, Vessar the other night in that Winston-Salem State game had 1 rebound in 21 minutes. 7-footer. You'd think a second rebound would just kind of fall into your hands accidentally. I mean, that's where, you know, how does his size manifest as the anchor for this North Carolina team, especially on the glass, but even on a play where you're trying one-on-one to go against other size? How does he hold up?
Foul on Dixon. You brought up the point to Hubert Davis before the game. You said, yes, you've got size, but the physicality component matters.
It does. I mean, because Jaron Stevenson 6'10", but he's not a physical specimen. He's not a rebound. Like, the size, these guys have not been rebounders at their past stops.
Mason launches. No. Rebound Dixon. Foul on Mason as Vessar tried to carve out space.
It was cool. Mason walked into the building yesterday and he was talking to one of his teammates and he said, I'm like a little kid. This is a dream come true. I never imagined I would be playing in this building.
It's one of the iconic venues in college basketball. There's Stevenson. They want him to do that more. Take the ball to the basket. Bogovac. Vessar battling for the rebound. It's loose. And a whistle on underneath. Saturday, the ACC Huddle crew will be in Charlottesville, where Virginia football is in first place by itself in the ACC. It's funny, their one loss is to NC State in what was a scheduled non-conference game. They're undefeated in league play, and they get Wake Forest at home. They close with Duke and Virginia Tech. The path to an ACC championship game appearance is right there. Offensive rebound, Powell, a 3-and-D guy at West Virginia. Now Dixon, four-star freshman.
You don't have to ask Bogovac twice to shoot it. You know, this Carolina team this year is going to have a different gravity than last year's. You know, teams by the end of last season were so gapped up on North Carolina. They just did not respect their ability to shoot it. But they were afraid of Elliot Cadeau, R.J. Davis, Seth Trimble driving to the basket. You're going to have to respect this team. It's going to help their spacing a lot with the number of shooters that they can put out there on the floor.
Foul on Hunter, his first. There's Bogovac again. Stevenson can shoot it from the outside, as can Powell. So can Vessar. Parker Applegate pulled down the rebound. Ty Robinson looking for help. Bolden lost it. Marable missed the bunny.
Got to make layups playing in a game like this.
Powell catch and release, yes.
And that's the ability to change floors, ends of the floor for North Carolina. And again, those wings are running to the corners, and those guys are ready to shoot.
Heels want to push. Powell thought about it. One of the things Hubert Davis has had to preach, shot selection. Powell pulls the trigger this time, and the rebound by Bolden. Bolden fades. Rebound Dixon. Bogovac lines it up and knocks it down.
It's what he does best.
Ty Robinson wearing the mask because he broke his nose recently in practice. And that's a traveling call.
Luka Bogovac, he's in the building, and he is hungry to shoot. Rise and fire, Luka. Caleb Wilson's off to a hot start. I don't think Central Arkansas has seen a dude like this. A maximum problem. And it's been all at the basket. And if this is the default setting for Caleb Wilson, like his opportunity to show that face-up shot will come. But if his default setting is attack the basket, attack the offensive glass, be relentless attacking that paint, he's going to have a heck of a year because he's hyper efficient when he gets there. He's so long and athletic.
We've heard of the comparisons, and one of the names that keeps popping up, Chris, is Marvin Williams. Did you buy that?
Yeah, well, it's a lot to live up to. Marvin Williams, a heck of a player. But, yeah, I mean, look, he is in this mold of what NBA teams want now, where you can plug a guy in of that size and length and versatility. You can plug him in any position. You can switch him, you can put him on the perimeter, put him on the block. And he's a really humble kid. Like, he is all about learning and all about the game. The relationship he and Coach Davis have developed already is excellent.
Guy King misses on a three. Tar Heels running again. It's Trimble, the switcheroo. Tapped by Vessar, not there. Here comes Central Arkansas now. Luke Moore, the freshman. passer was directing traffic. I'm not sure if Central Arkansas followed. Here's Moore. Now Marable with 5. It's taken away by McCormick. Intercepted by Vessar. He gets tied up. And a foul on the floor. It's on Javion Guy King. That's number 2. And that puts Carolina in the bonus.
You know, it's interesting. Carolina for so long had been a program that played 2 bigs. And then the game, you know, kind of went away with that. The trip to the Final Four, Carolina found something in Brady Manek at that stretch 4 position. But you look at the Final Four last year, 3 of the 4 teams in that Final Four were playing 2 bigs. You know, Duke, the only team that wasn't doing that.
What does that tell you?
You know, I think rebounding has become as Hubert has said all offseason, a determining, he calls it the #1 determining factor in winning games. And so I think the ability to dominate the glass, to extend possessions with the offensive glass, I think has become a big thing in a 40-minute game.
And for years, North Carolina would be amongst the best rebounding teams in the country. McCormick way off.
And there's multiple ways of doing it. I mean, like North Carolina in ball screens, they're going to switch, or in any screen, they're going to switch 1 through 4. They've had Vessar in drop coverage, shown some different looks with him. Houston, one of those teams in the Final Four, plays 2 bigs. They're very aggressive. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. I think with Carolina's size, they have the versatility, particularly with Caleb Wilson at that 4 position.
A little bit of a press here by Central Arkansas. Starters back in for UNC. Kyan Evans helped Colorado State to the NCAA tournament last year. Trimble drops it off. Now Vessar, the 7-foot Estonian, gets the friendly roll.
It's good poise. Caught it in traffic, caught it amongst 2 bodies, kept his feet, and he could finish with both hands in there. Very skilled.
12-0 run for UNC. Moore's pass deflected. Wilson got a hand on it. Moore, probably an ill-advised shot with 15 on the shot. And a foul. 33-13. Carolina in control. John Shulman, part of a basketball family. He says wife Amy is the star of the family. A Hall of Fame player at ETSU, former Conference Player of the Year. His son JC is a walk-on currently at Central Arkansas. He coached his other 2 sons, and Max is now an assistant coach with him as well. Basketball is the family tie.
As John Shulman says, he's living out his dream. He is as good as it gets in the coaching profession. He's got a heart of gold. You know, he was saying he had never been to the state of Arkansas before he interviewed for the job. And it was a challenge. I mean, Central Arkansas has not had a winning season, or they've had one in 18 years. And that one year they went 18-17. So outside of having Scottie Pippen as an alum, like, it's not a program with great winning tradition. He took up the challenge, and he's a great guy to do it. And he's just a coach's coach.
He had success at Chattanooga, where he took the Mocs to 2 NCAA tournaments. Had a great run at Division II Alabama Huntsville before coming to Central Arkansas. You see the versatility of Wilson, who can guard almost any position on the floor. Trimble open. Back iron, offensive rebound, Wilson. Now Bogovac. Wilson's got a mismatch. Shot clock at 3. And Trimble fouled on the drive by Byrne. Following our game, opening night continues. South Carolina State goes to Louisville. 11th ranked Cards, and Ryan Conwell coming your way after we're done in Chapel Hill. I know the ACC's taken its lumps the last few years. There's a lot of optimism for good reason this year.
Yeah, I think there should be. You know, Louisville is an interesting case this year. They had a really great year last year in year one of Pat Kelsey. You know, it's interesting, in their 2 exhibition games, they did not shoot the 3 well, and they were a volume 3-point shooting team. They got that in the portal. That's who Pat Kelsey has always been. They did not shoot it well in that Kansas exhibition and lost. They made 23 threes. I mean, devastating number of threes in the second exhibition against Bucknell. Their backcourt made 18 of the 23 threes. So there's a volatility there that concerns you, and they're not close to being the defensive team that they were last year yet.
Pick near the top of the ACC, Duke, the preseason favorite. Bogavac tries to keep it in bounds. And was knocked out of bounds by Robinson. We'll take another look.
You know, North Carolina's done a nice job in their defense today. You know, they have been prepared for the Princeton. They've been prepared for the back doors. They've been really hard on the basketball. They've gotten into the ball, and they've been in denial.
15-0 run for UNC. Zayden high, kicks it back out, and the 3 good by Kyan Evans. He's got 9, his second 3.
Nice relocation by Evans, finding that line, and a good pass by High, who played much better in their second exhibition game.
Hunter's 3, not there. He's still looking for his first points. High thought about it, puts it on the floor, turns it over. Zayden High back after a 1-year suspension, former top 100 recruit. Mason on the baseline. That's going to play at the Y 20 years from now, too.
Sure is.
We step aside with Carolina up 39-15. We're back in 30 seconds. College football Saturday, SMU looking to build off the win against Miami last week. Miami gets Syracuse, which lost to North Carolina on Friday night. The Orange in that game started a true freshman walk-on who came to school on a lacrosse scholarship, and then Florida State and Clemson. I'm not sure many of us saw 4-4 against 3-5 in November between those two.
It's your first lacrosse mention of the night.
It's one.
Hitting the under.
Center square on the bingo card for you. Here comes Seth Trimble. Wilson misfires. They got a foul on the floor against Central Arkansas. The shooting development, if you want to call it that, of Caleb Wilson is going to be a story to follow through this season.
There are 2 things with him in terms of his development. The ability to shoot it, which is going to come because he's got the tools. It's a little bit flat, but it's there. The other thing is consistent effort. When he wants to play, he can play hard, and he competes, and he gets after it. But there are times where he will take plays off. He'll jog back. Defensively, he'll stand up. It's easy when you're matched up one-on-one with A.J. Dybantsa to want to get into that dude and to play hard. But that's the thing where if Caleb Wilson, you know, finds that playing every play, that motor, that consistent motor, obviously his ceiling is already really, really high.
That was the marquee in that BYU exhibition game out in Salt Lake City, and Dybantsa, the #1 player coming out of high school. Wilson, the #5 player, and Caleb more than held his own. 22 points, 10 rebounds. Robinson over Wilson, who may have gotten a piece. Bogavac almost lost it. Wilson on the baseline, and the hammer. He's got 10 points on 5 dunks.
You're going to shoot a high percentage if you're dunking everything.
Rashad Bolden on his 4th school. 24 a game at Mississippi College, a D2 school last year. That's his first field goal. He was 0 for 4 prior. Wilson against Mason. Drops it off to High. Knocked out of bounds. Stays with North Carolina.
Caleb Wilson, I mean, not much resistance, and he throws a little sizzle onto that. What a first half. You know, we've seen a lot of high-low. I mean, this is, again, old school Carolina. That secondary break flowing into that high-low. And a nice dive off of that post pass down to Caleb Wilson by Zayden High. Bigs playing together in tandem.
Ogavot's no good. James Brown into the game for North Carolina. He and Zayden High, they're looking for those guys to be their depth on the front line as Marable has the easy flush.
Marable, only a freshman. Game 1, welcome to Chapel Hill. It's one of the things for John Schulman. All 3 of his bigs are really young, and they have such a responsibility in that offense.
He said Marable, especially as a 5, as Wilson draws the foul. That 5 in the Princeton offense often is the orchestrator. Caleb Wilson making some sweet music for UNC in half number 1. He's got 10.
Anish Shroff called Caleb Wilson ballyhooed in our open. He is ballyhooping in this first half. All 5 of his made field goals are dunks. And he just shows you the length around the basket. You know, again, if that's his default setting, attack the paint and attack the rim, he's going to have a big-time year. And you were mentioning his numbers in the exhibition games. The thing that stood out to me, he had 20 rebounds in the 2 games. 8 of them were offensive rebounds. He had 6 blocks in the 2 games. So, I mean, he's a two-way player. Like, he is every bit as impactful on the defensive end. He made the point, he's switching out on point guards and getting down in his stance and defending that. Just a multi-dimensional talent.
A McDonald's All-American, a 5-star. The number 5 player in the ESPN 100. And that's to your point. He checks off a lot of what Hubert Davis wanted in the offseason. He gives you size, he gives you positional versatility, gives you rebounding, especially on the offensive end. Those were all needs for North Carolina coming into the season. As we get a foul on the floor.
Well, and he gives you a top-end, top-5 pick talent that North Carolina has been synonymous with. I mean, that's a dude, and Carolina has always had dudes.
That's out of bounds to Central Arkansas. We were talking before the game. 2019 is the last time the Tar Heels had a lottery pick. And that's going to change.
It sure is.
That was Kobe White and Cam Johnson. It's not a long period of time for a lot of programs. For this one, it is. You look up in the rafters, it's basically a who's who of college basketball. Dixon picks up his second foul. That's another freshman they have who they have a chance to bring along slowly, but when you watch the BYU game, he seems to potentially be a guy who can run some point for you at North Carolina this season.
He's a true point guard, and I think that's a position that they're still in discovery phase. You know, they lost over 350 assists in R.J. Davis and Elliot Cadeau. So, like, who's setting the table? Who's initiating your offense in the half court? And the thing you love about Dixon is he's got positional size defensively. And that's the one area with Kyan Evans. I think he's going to get picked on early. I think teams are going to go after Evans to test him.
Javian Guy King picks up his 3rd foul. You mentioned Dixon's size. 6'5", 200 as a freshman from Vienna, Virginia. Played his high school ball at Gonzaga College in Washington, D.C.
And you don't lose shooting with him on the floor. He made 80 threes last year during his high school season at Gonzaga.
Powell can shoot it from the outside. Dixon passes. 5 to shoot. Bogovac launches. In and out. Luke Moore, the true freshman. And stays with the Bears.
You just can't simulate in your practice, if you're Central Arkansas, this length and size that North Carolina has. You get into that paint and you're just not used to seeing that length.
Central Arkansas out of the Atlantic Sun. Last season was John Schulman's first at the helm. Team plagued by injuries. McCormick with an easy 2.
Really nicely done.
That pass knocked away by Moore. And we get a foul. It's going to be on Wilson, his second.
That's the other area of concern for North Carolina, turnovers. You know, they had 19 in that game against BYU. And a lot of them careless. You know, there are basketball turnovers where you're being aggressive, or you know, somebody doesn't catch the ball, or there's a bad call. But a lot of their turnovers in that BYU game especially were of the careless, you know, not paying attention to detail variety.
That's the challenge for a lot of these teams early in the season. You have so many new faces, so many teams undergo an extreme makeover in the offseason these days. Figuring out how to play together, the continuity that used to be a hallmark of great teams, no longer there.
McCormick finally healthy, played most of last year. He had turf toe. Took about 4 months off this summer. Tough kid.
Sophomore from Chattanooga, where John Schulman used to coach. Stevenson driving and fouled. North Carolina in the double bonus.
You know, talking to John Schulman, he really likes his guards, especially for the Atlantic Sun. And he was telling us, if in the ASUN, if you have the best guards, you're going to win. And that was the case. I had a chance to call the ASUN championship last year with Mike Monaco. That was the case. I mean, the two teams in that game, Lipscomb, who won the ASUN, won that game. Will Pruitt, Joe Anderson, outstanding guards. And then for North Alabama, a guard named Jakari Lane was outstanding. I mean, the best guards in that league dominated that championship game. And, you know, Lipscomb had the most outstanding player in the league, Jacob Anasovic, who really wasn't a factor in the game. So it just goes to show you what Schulman was saying. If you have guards in a league like that, you got a chance to win the league.
Jaden Young of a Virginia Tech transfer knocks down a 3, a lot less on his plate this year. He was asked to be a shot creator last year for the Hokies. Now he gets to come off the bench, be an energy guy. Final 90 seconds of an opening half dominated by North Carolina. Hunter on the drive, reverse layup, no good. Tough first half for Cameron Hunter. Young, another 3. Vessar, offensive rebound. And a held ball is the call. Possession arrow to the heels.
Yeah, I think the other thing that North Carolina is looking for is an emotional leader. And Vessar showed you a little bit of that in the BYU exhibition game. Like, there was some emotion coming from Henry Vessar. You did not see it in the Winston-Salem State game. And obviously in a blowout here, you're not going to see it a ton. But I think they're looking for that vocal, emotional leader out there in game on the floor.
Evans connects. Can't leave him that wide open. His third 3 of the half. He's got 12. He was 8 for 13 in the NCAA tournament last year from 3. Hunter against Vesar. Maneuvers around the 7-footer, but can't finish.
He's getting to his spot now. He just, like you said, he's having a hard time putting the ball in the basket.
Timeout North Carolina.
You know, Kyan Evans, again, this is what he does. He is a shooter. And as you mentioned, I mean, he lit it up, especially at the end of last year. Colorado State, Niko Medved put him into the starting lineup. They were 5-5 at the time. They went 21-5 the rest of the way. Made the NCAA tournament, of course, lost in that outstanding tournament game when Derek Queen from Maryland hit that buzzer beater, that runner off the glass. And Evans was playing alongside a terrific player, Nick Clifford. So he really came on and gave them a spark. The question is, can he be that consistent point guard? Can he be an ACC night in, night out point guard who you hand the ball to at 7 o'clock and he gives it back to you at 9 with everything taken care of, as Skip Prosser used to say. And I think that's, we know he can shoot. Can he defend his position, and can he run an offense?
At Colorado State, he really didn't have to be a true point guard. Here, at least to begin the season, he's in that role. But Hubert Davis told us, hey, we feel like we've got multiple guys who can pass. Positional versatility, the switchblade, the Da Vinci and high tops. That's what everybody wants these days. 4 to shoot. Trimble has it poked away by Moore. He's got a run out. He'll launch and misfire. And that's how the first half ends. The Pippins put up a Jordan, but they're down 28.
Well done by you. North Carolina did what you need to do in a game like this. They imposed their will in the paint, on the glass, and the talent came to play. Caleb Wilson, what a first half from him.
Caleb Wilson with a dozen. Kyan Evans in his Tar Heel debut with a dozen, including 3 three-pointers. Time to get it to our ACC Network studios and Taylor Tannenbaum. It's opening night in college basketball. 25th ranked North Carolina with an impressive first half, up 51-23 on visiting Central Arkansas out of the Sun Belt. And Shroff, Chris Spatola, a lot of hype and hoopla around Caleb Wilson, the freshman for UNC. Listen, they made it easy for him. 5 dunks, 12 points.
Not a lot of resistance from Central Arkansas. I'm waiting for somebody to get physical with Caleb Wilson, but he hunts the basket. And when he is around it, when he is in that paint, he's really tough to stop. He's got 2 offensive rebounds. So look at him come from the top of the key there to follow up with a dunk there on that offensive board. And then North Carolina got out and ran. Turnovers off of defensive boards. They got out, they pushed, got some easy stuff. They really shared the basketball in that first half. 11 assists on their 17 made field goals. Really efficient from the Tar Heels.
Luka Bogovac, part of the storyline as well. He had his Tar Heel debut. We weren't sure if he was going to play. Find out 30 minutes before tip that he's eligible. Wilson with a dozen, Kyan Evans with a dozen. At one point, Central Arkansas went almost 8 minutes without a point. 51-23 as we get ready for the second half here at the Dean Dome. This was a game that was put together by a couple of coaches who knew each other pretty well. John Shulman, the head coach at Central Arkansas, and Jeff Lebo, an assistant coach at UNC. Those two worked together at 3 different stops. There you see Lebo.
John Shulman's a big Diet Mountain Dew guy. Jeff Lebo had a Diet Mountain Dew delivered to practice yesterday.
How about that?
So Shulman had 2 Diet Mountain Dews sitting there on the table. I said, you got to take it easy on the Diet Mountain Dew, man. I don't know what's that. Are they a sponsor? I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. I'll stay away from it now. A drop off down low, and Central Arkansas, the first 2 points here in the second half. It's the first 2 points of the game for Cameron Hunter. A couple of years ago, averaged 17 a game for this team.
Yeah, he's their best player, their best leader. It was a rough first half, I think, adjusting to this building and certainly the size of North Carolina.
John Shulman calls him our Jalen Brunson. Vesar, that's too easy for the 7-foot Arizona transfer.
Another big-to-big pass. High-low pass coming from Wilson over the top. And as you said, just too big.
Robinson over Vesar, grazes the front rim. Here comes Evans. Now Trimble, nice move to split the D.
You got to know they're coming. I mean, Central Arkansas has been caught a little bit off guard by Carolina's speed in the open floor.
Wild shot, Marable grabs the offensive rebound.
I mean, they are running. Long rebound, turnovers. They are out, and a good look ahead. And how athletic and dynamic is Seth Trimble in transition? I mean, he's so good attacking the basket. Can struggle at times to finish. Had a layup at the end of that BYU game that he missed, but so dynamic in the open floor.
Carolina gets it. Marable was called for the foul. Wilson goes down hard. Pops up right away. We get another foul. It's on McCormick. It's going to be his third. Central Arkansas committed 13 team fouls in the opening half.
Love to see Jaron Stevenson show something here in his second half. Didn't hear much from him in the first.
Vesar again with a good look. Marable, the freshman in the high post. Hunter's three, short. McCormick, the offensive rebound. And knocked out of bounds. Last touch, Central Arkansas. There's Stevenson, gives it up. Trimble tied up, another foul on Central Arkansas. Already the third team foul in the second half.
You know, Carolina's done a nice job in the early part of this season, you know, letting the ball see both sides. Dribble handoffs, movement, some continuity, wing ball screening. Very much an offense that's going to be the sum of the parts. You know, they don't have that isolation guy.
McCormick to the bench. He picked up his fourth.
Vesar on the high-low.
Setting the screen. He's got a size advantage. Shot clock at 5. They lob it down low. One more. There's Stevenson. That's what they want to see a little more of from Stevenson. He's a 6'10" guy who can shoot it. They want to see some rebounding and some points in the paint. Pull-up is not there by Bolden. The lob to Wilson. Almost had dunk number 6.
He is running to the front of the rim, hungry to score, and then he almost ended a life. I mean, my goodness.
What do the kids say, catch a body? Foul is on Applegate, his first. You look at a kid like this, and again, true freshman. What do you think the ultimate ceiling could be for a Caleb Wilson?
It's hard to even know at this point. I mean, again, like, he's already a dude who does effort-based things. He's clearly been coached to do that. I think his processing, his feel for the game will come. And just like that play there, like, you could fall in love with your ability to shoot it.
Look out.
And you know, players of that level, man, they got a lot of people in their ears, a lot of people talking to them. And as the year progresses, Caleb Wilson has to understand that he is at his best attacking the paint and attacking the basket. His ability to prove that face-up shot will come.
He's guarding the inbounds with a 7-foot wingspan. Hunter, spin move. Hunter with the three. John Shulman said when he got to Central Arkansas, his first phone call was to Cameron Hunter. Hunter decided to leave and go to Wisconsin, but Shulman told him, hey, listen, you're a Central Arkansas guy. As Wilson knocks down his first field goal that is not a dunk.
Ends up being a three. You were asking about his ceiling?
If he starts doing that, right? Stratosphere? What's above the stratosphere?
I believe we have, what is that, Apollo 51? What's out there taking those beautiful pictures out there in outer space?
Is the Hubble telescope still a thing?
We're out of our depth.
Timeout, Central Arkansas.
Well, I don't know what's out there beyond the stratosphere. Certainly something. Caleb Wilson will probably end up there at some point. He has shown you a heck of a night.
This game pits the alma maters of maybe the greatest tandem in basketball history. Michael Jordan, a star at North Carolina, and Central Arkansas, the alma mater of Scottie Pippen. Central Arkansas was an NAIA school when Pippen played there. He was 6'1" when he got there, 6'7" when he left, and Jordan taken 3rd overall in the '84 draft. Pippen, the 5th overall pick in the '87 draft. Horace Grant went 10th in that '87 draft, and those three were the foundational pillars of that first Bulls dynasty.
I was hoping that the two guys would use this game as an opportunity to get back together.
Right.
You know, the olive branch, speaking terms.
After the whole Last Dance airings, they seem to have a falling out. Held ball. There's the defense by Wilson. Possession arrow UNC.
He is showing you the full kit bag tonight. The full arsenal from Caleb Wilson.
.16 for Wilson. Vassar. And they say the basket does not count. We step aside. UNC up big. Nishraf Chris Spatola, part of the reason the ACC believes better things are in store this year. Terrific transfer haul, but also this freshman class.
Yeah, outstanding. I mean, Cam Boozer has been unbelievable in the exhibition period for Duke. Michael Brown had 28 in that exhibition against Bucknell. Just an incredibly talented freshman class overall, but certainly in this league.
We'll get to see Michael Brown tonight. Louisville, South Carolina State, following our game. No good by Evans. Taken away by Bolden. Wilson's now switched on 3 players just on this one possession. Bolden gets the bounce.
Well, when you can switch 1 through 4, that's the other thing that neutralizes a lot of this Princeton stuff. As long as you stay under these cuts.
Wilson draws yet another foul. What is that dunk, number 7? 6?
Yeah, and look, he's super talented. We've made the point. He has also not been challenged here tonight. I mean, Central Arkansas, nobody gets in front of him. I mean, nobody has hardly touched him here tonight.
It's his 6th dunk. He's 7 for 8 from the field. 18 points, a game high. Moore offline for 3. Knocked out of bounds to North Carolina.
And Carolina's done a nice job under out of bounds. That cut by Vesar, attracts the defense attention, and then nobody steps in front of Wilson. Again, wide open.
When you're a freshman and you set foot on campus, you know how you don't take the 500 course right away? You ease into it a few one-on-ones.
Oh, your point is that the competition tonight.
Caleb Wilson's got a 101, 102. Now he'll get the higher level classes. They're coming.
Well, and he played really well against BYU.
He did.
And so did Carolina. I mean, to go on the road, have 19 turnovers and only lose by 2.
How about Zayden High?
They need a backup to Vesar. I think that's the other question mark. Is it James Brown? Is it Zayden High? High's, he's got a good energy about him. He's pretty skilled. He's certainly more skilled than James Brown.
Zayden High, when he was in high school, watched his height go from 6'1" to 6'10" as Applegate gets 2 for Central Arkansas. Bogavants was held by Hunter. Actually, that was Guy King. That's 4.
That's where Vesar only played about 21 minutes a game last year, so was only playing about half the game. You're certainly going to play him more if you're Hubert Davis this year, but foul trouble type of game, you're going to have somebody behind to be able to step in and anchor when Vesar is out.
Luka Bogavants from Montenegro. Played professionally in Europe, and it's interesting. A lot of publications list him as a freshman. North Carolina lists him as a junior, and that was part of the reason why his status was in flux. The NCAA cleared him to play. It's not the easiest process to transfer credits from European colleges to North Carolina. It's not as simple as, hey, send us your transcript. And it was a lot of back and forth between North Carolina and his old college in Europe, and they finally were able to get the credits resolved, and it was resolved 30 minutes before tip. But North Carolina classifies Bogavants as a junior. That's going to be an offensive foul. Interesting expression there by Bogavants.
You could tell he's been taught the game well, though. European players, they come up in the game differently than the American grassroots player. They are taught the game much more from a skill standpoint.
Moore, the step back. Foul down low on High.
That's the other thing with High is foul trouble can be and has been an issue. He's got to be able to play without fouling.
Moore splits the D and uses the window.
Nice drive there. Moore's had the ball in his hands a lot here tonight and having to deal with this Carolina pressure.
True freshman from Little Rock. Powell, no good. Applegate the rebound. John Shulman said that since they started practicing, Moore has been their best player, and it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor. Robinson, in and out. Here comes Dixon. Powell, no good. Robinson on the drive over Bogovac. Moore, that three-point shot has just not been there, and a few of them have been just a bit outside. Stevenson. It's taken away by Robinson.
It's where Stevenson plays smaller than 6'10".
Ty Robinson, the redshirt freshman from Hot Springs, to the free throw line when we come back. Kyan Evans was one of the big offseason transfer portal additions for North Carolina.
Yeah, he's been very good tonight. You know, he's been, I think, a little more instinctual. He's let the game come to him. He has shot it well. You know, that's what I think everybody was kind of hoping for. This is what he does best. But he's been in control. He's been very good in transition, you know, driving the ball and finding shooters. He's talented and had a heck of a run at the end of last season for Colorado State.
Meanwhile, the free throw by Ty Robinson was the first free throw attempt for Central Arkansas, almost halfway through the second half. Both free throws good for Robinson, who missed most of last season with knee tendonitis. Originally signed with Dusty May at FAU, and then came to Central Arkansas when May took the Michigan job. Marable commits the foul. North Carolina in the bonus.
That's where Jaren Stevenson, he can be really, really loud or really quiet. He was very quiet in that first half, and he wants to shoot. I mean, he's 6'10" and long and all that. He wants to shoot. And I think for Hubert Davis, you know, it's getting some of that buy-in on attacking the glass. Again, he only averaged about 3 rebounds a game at Alabama. Reclassified to go to Alabama, so he's still young for a junior and has been in some big games. I mean, they don't go to the Final Four 2 years ago without Jaren Stevenson. You just like a little more dirty work, a little more effort-based stuff from him.
You're talking about that Elite Eight game where Alabama knocked off Clemson. Stevenson had 5 threes, scored 19, and in the Sweet 16, he was on the Bama team that beat North Carolina as Bolden splashes in a 3. This was a kid who is well-traveled. Southern Miss, McNeese, Division II, Mississippi College, now Central Arkansas. Bogovac with 7. Left it a bit short. Tried to rip away the rebound. It comes to Bolden.
I mean, Vessar had Cam Hunter on him for the bulk of that possession. He has got to get the ball.
Marable spin cycle and fouled by Vessar. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew heads to the grounds. The University of Virginia in Charlottesville. They'll get you ready for a full day of football, 2-hour pregame show. Virginia is leading the ACC in football, undefeated in conference play, 8-1 on the season. The lone loss was weirdly a non-conference loss to NC State. They've had some close calls, and Tony Elliott's team with a chance to get to the ACC championship if they take care of business down the stretch. Free throw no good by Marable. Offensive rebound. Hunter, too much. Last touch, Central Arkansas.
It's not a night that Cam Hunter's going to want to remember. He's a guy, he oozes with confidence. I mean, he walked into the gym last night for their practice like he owned the place. Dean Smith Center, this is the Cam Hunter Center. And it just has not been his night.
John Shulman says he's the hardest working guy on the team. First guy into the gym. And he says when that's your best player, it's cliche, but there's a trickle-down effect on everybody else on the team.
Well, in this league, Anish, this ASUN gets decimated by the portal. I mean, John Shulman lost. Their best big last year went to Minnesota for $500,000, and he's played 1 minute in 2 exhibition games. Nehemiah Turner. So he took the money, ran to Minnesota, and is not going to play there. I hope it's worth it.
Well, we saw that with Cameron Hunter just a year ago, right? He goes to Wisconsin and, again, got a lot of money to go to Wisconsin. Never saw more than 8 minutes in a game. He only played 11 games, averaged 2 minutes per game. This was a guy who was the team's leading scorer at Central Arkansas a couple of years before that, former ASUN Freshman of the Year. And now listen, the age of the transfer portal now, when guys leave, you can't burn the bridge, because Cameron Hunter came back, and you start to see some of that a little bit. A guy goes somewhere else, you know what? Wrong choice. Grass wasn't greener, and then they come back to the school where they used to play.
Yeah, and look, I'm not besmirching $500,000. I mean, it's life-changing money for most. But when you get old and gray, the things you remember are the relationships, the opportunities to play, the opportunities to be a part of a growing program like John Shulman is building at Central Arkansas. And we know about the portal. What I don't know if people realize is leagues like the Atlantic Center are getting killed by the portal.
Vessar with the two-handed slam. And you think about it, right? A lot of these coaches in the smaller leagues, they're doing a lot of grunt work finding 0-star, 1-star guys, under-recruited, lightly recruited. They spend the time to develop those players. And then a year or two in, a big school comes in with a big money offer. And again, when you're talking that kind of money for some guys, as you said, life-changing, you can't fault them. But then you're a smaller program. You're going, wait, we just put all that time and effort into growing you as a basketball player. Now you're leaving us. And now somebody else gets your best years.
You have to get creative. I mean, there's a lot of good players out there. Like Ben McCollum at Drake last year took a lot of guys from his D2 stop prior to Drake. You know, John Shulman telling us yesterday they have a lot of D2 transfers on their roster. He said, look, we don't look down on D2 guys because we are D2 guys. So you got to get creative.
I think the student section was bored because Central Arkansas hasn't shot enough free throws tonight. I'm told that was a promotion. That wasn't the student section. That's on the other end.
If you miss 2 in a row,
that's a free cookies? Okay. Robinson hoists and hits. How many guys like Seth Trimble are still around? 4 years, 1 program. Good defense there by Moore, denying Wilson. Robinson tight ropes the baseline. Applegate has it poked away. Evans with help. 2 guys went up for the alley-oop. Trimble and Wilson, 2 guys who can play above the rim. Good ball movement here by Central Arkansas. Robinson hits the open three.
I love it, man. Two guys fighting over an alley-oop. Seth Trimble says, not freshman. But how about Vestar? How about the night he's had? You don't find that length down in Central Arkansas, down in Conway.
Who wants this, Chris? Who wants it?
As Seth Trimble said, I'm normally the big dog around here. Stand down, freshman. You know, normally when you're the passer there, too, they tell you to call out the name of the guy you're throwing it to. Kyan Evans wanted no part of that. Here you go, boys.
Trimble's like, I've been doing that for 3 years, and Caleb Wilson says, well, have you watched me tonight? Intercepted by Applegate. Junior from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The Australian, Truman Byrne.
That was Kyan Evans' first turnover of the night. He's got to put that up at the backboard. Vestar will go get it.
Robinson misfires. Trimble, nice looking move. He's now in double figures. 5 Tar Heels with at least 10 points.
You know, if you're Kansas scouting North Carolina, your defensive game plan has to start with halting the momentum of Evans and Trimble in transition. They are so much better and so good at creating in transition in the open floor than they are in the half court yet.
Nice feed, high-low, big to big. Wilson to Vestar. You ever watch the movie with Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser, Encino Man?
Yes, yes.
Encino Man was from Estonia.
Yes, that's right.
Like Vestar.
Good call by you. I did not have a Pauly Shore mention coming up tonight, and that may be Pauly Shore's only good movie.
80-49 with 5.5 to go in the second half.
I'm not hating on it. A good Encino Man reference.
I wonder how Encino Man holds up. Robinson, no good. We get some subs in. Derek Dixon, 4 fouls, the freshman. Top 60 recruit, 3 in white. Chris, Jaden Young is an interesting piece for North Carolina because he was a significant contributor last year for Mike Young in Blacksburg.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who has to stay ready off of that bench because he can shoot. He's another one of those guys they brought in who can shoot. And he's been well coached, to your point about Mike Young. You know, he comes into this program having been well schooled and taught.
Caleb Wilson with a chance to get to 20 points at the free throw line.
That's one of those things, Anish. 11 new guys on your roster, and they have a lot of guys who believe that they can come in and help and contribute. That's where that discovery process, you know, the BYU game, you got the Kansas game, that schedule we showed earlier, they're going to know about themselves by the time you get into ACC play. And I think one of the things Hubert Davis and that staff are looking for is differentiation, separation between guys, so you know as this year unfolds who those guys are in specific moments.
Friday, a game against Kansas, Michigan State later this month, Kentucky early December. Those games reveal a lot about who you are and who can play. The other part of it, though, we were talking about this pregame. So many teams with so many new faces, and you're playing these marquee non-conference games early in the year. The outcomes of those games shape narratives around teams and conferences, and then oftentimes teams improve once league play starts. 22 points for Wilson. Look out. Here he goes, elevation, but no. Wilson with a big grin on his face. We get a whistle.
What a block there without fouling. And then what a look ahead. And how about that? Sharing the sugar.
A standing ovation for the freshman in his Tar Heel debut. 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for the 5-star Caleb Wilson. Dixon. Eight field goals for Caleb Wilson. 7 of them slam dunks. Tyler Hansbrough in the 06 season had the highest scoring average for a freshman in Tar Heels history. That's a pretty darn good list. Phil Ford in the house tonight. Joe Forte, Rashad McCants, Cole Anthony. Caleb Wilson after 1 game, 22 points.
Yeah, in 2 exhibition games where he had 23 and 22. So he's been 20 plus in all 3 of the games that they have played. And there has not been one shot where you'd say he forced that shot. You know, we were talking about shot selection earlier.
He only took 10 shots, made a 3, had 7 dunks, got to the foul line 6 times.
It was interesting talking to Hubert Davis about Caleb Wilson, and he was talking about how many questions Caleb asks. Just a curious mind about the game.
He said a lot of young guys, especially with the pedigree of Caleb Wilson, come in. They think they know everything, and it's a kid who wants to learn how to get better, and is very comfortable with the fact he doesn't have all the answers. Isaiah Dennis, freshman from Charlotte, another 4-star, top 60 recruit, checks in. See, Dennis has that finger on his right hand bandaged. He missed half of his senior year with a broken finger and then re-injured it in the summer. There's Dennis. Brown to high. Luke Moore.
That high-low has been well executed tonight.
A lot of dribbling by Moore. Mason's pass stolen away. Jaden Young with the 2-handed slam. Moore finally knocks down a 3. Been a tough shooting night for him. 2 for 9 and just 1 of 6 from 3 prior to that shot. Off the steal. Moore turbines. Rebound James Brown off the miss by Beecham. Two minutes to go. Young lines it up. No good. Offensive rebound Brown. This is Dixon for three.
He's going to just get better as the year goes on. I like Dixon a lot.
Following our game, we get you out to the KFC Yum Center, Louisville and South Carolina State. Jay Alter, Terrence Oglesby standing by. Louisville, preseason number 11 and picked to finish second in the ACC. Both teams emptying their bench here. Evan Smith, a walk-on, knocks it away for UNC. I go back to what John Shulman told me about why this game was scheduled. He and his friendship with Jeff Lebo, they worked together at 3 different stops. Shulman worked under Lebo at both Tennessee Tech and Chattanooga, took over for Lebo when he left the Chattanooga job for Auburn. And he mentioned Lebo taking him to UNC a long time ago for a coach's clinic, and he says, I see Dean Smith and Larry Brown, and you're awestruck. It doesn't fall for Thomas. Dennis has the three. Couple of baskets here by Isaiah Dennis in the waning seconds.
It's got to feel good, all he's got through. Get your first points here tonight.
Beecham. Now this is a moment for a lot of these guys who may not see the floor. Knocking a shot at the Dean Dome on your way out. Evan Smith will dribble out the clock. North Carolina cruises to a 94-54 win in its season opener. 24 consecutive home opening wins for UNC. Caleb Wilson shined in his Tar Heel debut with 22 points. North Carolina with a big date against Kansas on Friday. We get you out to Louisville. Jay Alter and Terrence Oglesby.